Welcome, friends, to the Beaver Dam, and we're gonna have a damn good time talking about is free-to-play dead? And the answer is no, but is it harmed by Lightspeed bundles? I think so. I wasn't really ready to accept this last year, but I think this year the results are finally in. Like most changes, it takes a while to kind of finally pan out and see the beginning of what we say. A lot of the times just ends up being our first take on things. And so we're gonna hop right in with, things like this 3GL account in Carbonite. Which is obviously not natural. Who goes for Ray as a first GL? So this is very clearly influenced heavily by Lightspeed bundles, and they're still in Carbonite. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. But before we jump right in, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors for today, Raid Shadow Legends. It is day one of asking for a Rabid Beaver champion in Raid Shadow Legends. I just pulled 6 legendaries, and all 6 of them are freaking dope looking, and I would love a Rabid Beaver representation in this game for myself. I don't know, make him a skinwalker or something, who knows. But I've been having a damn good time playing Raid Shadow Legends. In fact, I have this entire channel that I've been working on, just laying out the new player perspective, the new player stuff, and trying to get people up to snuff as I get up to snuff on what's happening in this game, because I'm definitely behind the curve. But it's been so much fun. I've been really enjoying it. My favorite part so far has been just experiencing all of the different bosses in this game. There's so many bosses, and every single one acts differently and behaves differently and has different mechanics tied to it. And it's been really cool to be able to learn all of the different bosses and continue to find more as I've gone through content and learn how to beat those bosses as I gain new champions. If you start Raid Shadow Legends today, there is tons that you're going to get. You're going to get all kinds of cool stuff from the link down in the description below, or if you can follow the QR code above, whichever is easier for you. You're going to get all kinds of good stuff, including 2 epic champions, including Ugo, which is one of the best champions in the game. Has a really high rating across the board, as well as if you use the promo code Monkey King within the first day, you starting the game in the promo code section, you will be able to get Sun Wukong, who is frickin' phenomenal. This is who I use to get up through things while I waited to get my own legendaries. This was a great legendary to start with, so don't miss out on Sun Wukong today, and don't miss out on having a damn good time and joining me over on the other channel. I appreciate each and every one of you guys who have come on over there and hung out with me while we've done our first couple live streams, as well as those who comment and tell me, hey, I need a video on this. It helps me out, not only make content for you guys that's going to be helpful, but it just helps me know that you guys are there and you like my content, so I appreciate you guys. But regardless, make sure you smash that link down below and get started in Raid Shadow Legends today. Thank you, Raid Shadow Legends, for sponsoring this video. Okay, so jumping in, you see stuff like this. This is Carbonite 2. And you go through the Carbonite area, it jumps back to Kyber. I hate that. It's gonna make me do that a couple times, I'm sure. But you jump into Carbonite, and it's all people who are either desperately trying to fight their way up using good mods, or it's, oh my gosh, this is gonna be annoying. This is definitely going to be annoying. Or you end up with hold on, Carbonite 2. You end up with people like this. This is all of Carbonite. It's not just inactive players. They are literally everywhere. Just these people who bought Lightspeed bundles, and then they just don't know how to use them. And they don't look up anything. And it's fine to be a collector. It's fine to be willing to, just get characters and enjoy them. That is totally fine, but I feel like CG needs to make some changes. The GAC is just getting wrecked by these Lightspeed bundles, especially with the Negotiator Lightspeed bundle, with how hard fleets are starting out. I feel like it is harming free-to-play significantly. And I feel like it's almost they're trying to negate it by making it so Lightspeed bundles aren't constantly around, but that could be just preying on people's FOMO, trying to get more money out of people, which could entirely be possible. That's the main thing. But their matchmaking, their old style of matchmaking, people lord over their old style of matchmaking. Oh, it was all GP based and it was perfect. It wasn't, because if you dinked around. If you spent the first 6 months like I did, just playing, to play, getting, Darth Revan and Jedi Knight Revan because I like Revan and I liked the KOTOR games, then all of a sudden your account sucks because you went and did something you enjoy versus something that actually is helpful to your roster. And so then you're way far behind and there's no way you can really catch up because you have to be as efficient as possible because your rankings were all based off of your total GP, and then you get to Kyber for your GP. And so it encouraged this really toxic, you have to be completely efficient in the game, which would burn people out. And so I think the old style of matchmaking wasn't a good idea, and I think the new style is good, but I think we need some different changes into it overall. I think we need some changes like top to bottom. I think we need a Beskar tier underneath Kyber. I think we need a Kyber expansion. I still vote that we add in an extra zone, kind of like Territory Wars, where we have one big zone behind the two sets of two small zones, so that way, there's a little bit more strategy involved, and it wouldn't affect people too much. It would add one extra team on the Carbonite side, and then Kyber would add a lot more. That's my vote, but that's getting off topic here. Like, we need some stuff for the lower guys. We need something to say, hey, anyone over 4 million GP should not be in Carbonite. Anyone over 6 million GP shouldn't be in Bronzium. Whatever it might be, I don't care. Choose an arbitrary number. It should be there. Because this is, with the Lightspeed bundles, it's only accelerated the problem we used to have with Carbonite, where, I'd be facing 4 million GP accounts with like a GL or two in Carbonite, or, I'd face a 10 million account, but that'd be like, they're not playing, essentially. They're just there to get their crystals, and that's it. And so, like, those didn't really matter, but when it came down to it, it was bad back then. It's even worse now with all these Lightspeed bundle accounts, because it's people who are they're playing the game, but they don't know how to play the game. They just have a bunch of good characters, and so it makes it significantly harder to swing up as a free-to-play player. Now, that's not to say that free-to-play is dead. I said it at the beginning, and I'll say it again. Free-to-play is not dead, and nor will it ever be. Free-to-play is just as viable as anything else. In fact, it's never been in a more viable spot. With the introduction of the Nightfall thing, yes, people are struggling with the event, but, Scribes come up with some good stuff. I'll be coming out with a video here pretty soon for the next Nightfall era battle, and from here on out, I will be doing era battle videos where we'll get low gear era battle and show you guys what you can do to get tier 1 done, so you can start getting some shards for some new characters. Because, who doesn't want some extra shards for a single drop character? And they would eventually like to get those characters later down the road for an easier way of doing it. So, on top of that, we used to have single drop characters for everything, just like we have single drop ships. They've accelerated at that double drop. I wasn't around for the single drop of that, but I was around for the single drop of gear and the acceleration of gear, and I loved that. It is such a good change. And one of the greatest changes ever made is the guild activity, the whole raid store. This raid store is absolutely insanely helpful for free to play, for paid. It doesn't matter. Literally, whoever you are, this was one of the best changes to the game, and especially for free to play. I cannot tell you how hard it was way back when trying to get Electrium Conductors and Biddles, especially trying to get Arrow Magnifiers back before these changes. Dude, I hated doing the C-Pit, and trying to find a C-Pit raid ready guild was literally the most toxic thing of all time, and almost made me quit the game. Like, it was so bad. And now you have access to all this stuff. I literally, barely farm gear, and I just farm shards on my free-to-play account at this point, because you can basically do all of your gear farming here, and that is insane. If you just find an active guild, you're gonna be great. Big changes have happened in free-to-play that have caused this game to more and more be okay with free-to-play. I think the Lightspeed bundles have harmed people's view of free-to-play, though, because it makes it feel like your free-to-play is just taking forever compared to, oh, I could spend $10 and I could immediately get this. And they did that on purpose. It's obvious that they're doing this on purpose. They're trying to encourage purchases. The first purchase is always the hardest, and then after the first purchase, you're okay spending. I could not justify purchasing the hyperdrive bundle, and then I started spending about $20 a month, because I was curious what $20 a month would equal in overall rewards, and if I could catch up to Arnold's free-to-play, because I was about 3 months after he started his free-to-play that I started my account, so I was like curious, and so I started spending about $20 a month because that's what I could afford. And then when the gear changes happened, I was willing to drop the $50 on the hyperdrive bundle to get all the gear before the changes and turn that into scrap to help me out with my relic farm. And so like I started being a little dolphin. I never really went above $20 to $40 a month until I started making content. But that first purchase is always rough. You just cannot justify it. And Lightspeed bundles are the perfect way in of letting people justify a purchase. So I do think that Lightspeed bundles have harmed free-to-play in more ways than one. Grand Arena, willingness to be free-to-play, which is funny because it's never been in a better spot. But like just seeing how slow the game is early on, even with the changes from level 1 to 85, you know, the Lightspeed bundles is just insanely upgraded for what you're doing, because this game, I'll talk about it like a toilet paper roll. You know, when you're first pulling from a toilet paper roll, it doesn't look like you get much off of it. You know, it's still a large roll, but then as it gets smaller, it starts to go faster and faster. You know, one pull of the toilet paper is a lot more significantly off of the roll as you start to get lower and lower into the roll. Maybe that doesn't make sense to you, maybe it does, who knows. Maybe you don't have toilet paper and you just use leaves or money, or I don't know, a plastic cup, whatever you might end up using. Maybe you just don't wipe, who knows. But hopefully the toilet paper metaphor makes sense. It's the same thing for this game. You know, you get you get your first GL, it takes forever to get your first GL, but then after you get your first GL, you're looking at getting like a GL ship and another GL within the next year. After that, 3 GLs the next year. Like you can obviously, you know, it won't always be that fast, but like, you know, you speed up a ton. Farms just keep going faster and faster the farther you get into the game, to the point where like I got Apo. Yes, I spent money to get Apo up to 7 stars, but I did not spend like anything on his gear. I had everything I needed except for I think 50 of one material that I spent some crystals on just because I was on stream. But give me an extra 2 days with my raid currency and I would have had that done too. Like it goes so much faster that as time goes on, and so Lightspeed bundles kind of jumps you to that point where it feels like it's going really fast versus you have to do the steady progression in free to play. And I think that jump has harmed the looks of free to play and how it feels to be free to play, as well as Grand Arena. Grand Arena is just so rough, especially because with the changes to the new player experience, level 1 to 85, you get into Grand Arena way early. You know, you're only a month in. Like on my free-to-play account that didn't take advantage of those changes, that worked for months to get to level 85, I had a Relic Sauvage by the time I hit level 85. I had, I had a whole bunch of teams set up so I could have a decent offense and then just at least some teams on defense. Whereas on my other free-to-play account with the new changes, it was literally like I just had like level 1 characters on defense and a couple half-baked teams on offense. And so the changes have been great, but I still feel like there's some to be desired, and I think Lightspeed bundles have harmed a lot of this, and especially the raids. The raids are now dialed in for basically you either pay money to get the new characters or you pay money to get a Lightspeed bundle. Otherwise, you're going to struggle really hard in the raid, and I don't think that's going to change. So yeah, I think that Lightspeed bundles are looking like more a negative thing to free-to-play players. I think it's a great way for those who want to spend a little bit of money, but I do think it is harming the free-to-play experience. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. This is a little bit of a weirder topic, not really something I've talked about a ton. But like I'm seeing the evidence. I'm seeing the evidence on my free to play. I'm seeing the evidence in roster reviews that I do. I'm seeing evidence all over. Lightspeed bundles are great. I love Lightspeed bundles, but I think we need some changes before I can feel super comfortable with them, because the free to play experience is in the best place it ever has been. But like when Grand Arena isn't fun, what's the point? Like, that's one of the biggest things. Like, if Grand Arena isn't fun for me, it's the only time I've ever considered quitting. You know, like, even a couple months ago when they did the fleet meta shift where they did Punishing One, and then as an answer, they did Tie Dorito, and it doesn't actually change anything that's affected by Punishing One. All it was to basically lock out the off meta and make us spend more money. I stopped desiring to play Grand Arena for a couple weeks, and that's rough. As a person who's played for 4 years, like, I can't believe I got to that point. And so CG, do something about it. I love this game. I love Star Wars. I love the intricacies of kits. Please don't make me quit this game. You're the one with the power here. So yeah, let me know in the comment section your guys' thoughts on this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you go check out that link down below for Raid Shadow Legends to download it today. It's a great time to get into the game. Lots of cool stuff happening, 4 new promo codes. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for giving a damn.